Hey guys, Brandon here with True Fly Supply. We're going to go over what came in the January fly tying box. Go ahead and talk about the materials that came in it and even tie the pattern that it came with. So, January's box was a soft hackle. We got a nice informational card here that walks you through the process of actually tying the fly, should you not have access to this video. So that's really nice to have, especially just to file away and have on hand. We got a True Fly Supply promotional sticker, as well as an entire bag of goodies here. And I'm going to go over everything that came in the box too, as well as we got a couple mints for you to have while you're tying. So I'm going to go ahead and set this box aside here. Let's go ahead and open the bag and see everything that we got, because it's quite a bit. What we really try to do is give you enough materials to actually add to your kit. So normally your soft hackles are actually tied with Hungarian partridge, but for this particular pattern we're going to use Chinese pheasant patch, and I'm going to go into that a little bit later as to why we chose that. So we're going to go ahead and set that off to the side. Part of this pattern also requires a little bit of dubbing. We're going to go with a Hare's Blend dubbing, pretty standard in tan. Up next we have our monthly bonus item. So kind of what we do with each box is we give out the bonus item, so that way it's a tool that you can add to your fly tying kit that will actually add value to your fly tying setup. We got our 3/0 thread in olive that we're going to be using to tie this fly, and lastly we have 25 of the sedge caddis hooks that we're actually going to be tying this pattern on. So we actually give you a lot of materials to tie a bunch of flies, so the value is pretty good there. So let's actually go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and take a hook out of the pack here. These are going to be tied in number 16, so if you're following along and you don't have the True Fly Supply tying kit, these are just your standard caddis hook in size 16. This will also be a scud hook as well, so let's just go ahead and get that in the vise, make sure everything looks good. Alright, let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to go ahead and thread our olive thread on our bobbin here. Just go ahead and pull it out and get started. So now that we got our thread started, let's go ahead and get her going on the hook here. Go ahead and trim the excess off. So this is actually a really simple fly to tie, mainly for the fact that it's little material and it's a super effective pattern. So we're going to go ahead and take that thread all the way back to the bend in the hook, so just about where the barb is for the hook, about right there. And we're going to bring that forward again too, but as we bring it forward, let's go ahead and lay down multiple wraps and kind of taper that body a little bit. And if you have to go back and forth, let me go ahead and choke up on this. If you have to go back and forth, that's not a big deal at all. So let's just go ahead and build up that tapered body. And we're going to give that a little bit more love right there. Perfect. Alright, so then now the next step is we want to add a little bit of dubbing to the thread to create like a small bubble that's going to help spread the fibers back. And with dubbing, a little bit goes a long way, so be sure to go sparingly. And all we're going to do is, like I said, we're just going to build up a nice little bump for all of that to ride on. So see, look at that. Perfect. Next, we're going to go ahead and take our Chinese pheasant patch. And I know this fly is commonly tied with Hungarian partridge, but a lot of the times you'll find that materials are hard to come across, especially when we're sending them out in mass quantities like in these boxes. So I also want to use this opportunity to kind of teach people how to use other materials in order to achieve the same results. So what we're going to look for, especially with a fly of this size, we're going to come down here in the lower part of the patch, and these little iridescent blue guys, where they're like the perfect size for this. So we're going to go ahead and get one and pluck it off here. Oh, broke that one. All right, here we go. So we're gonna get one of those and pluck it off. And so all of this fuzzy stuff down here, we don't need any of that. So feel free to go ahead and just grab that and peel it off by pulling downwards. And that'll make the next part of this way easier for you. Okay, so now all we have is just that part right there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tie in at the tip. Let me just go ahead and get rid of just a few more of these real quick. So we're going to tie in at the tip. So we're going to take all these fibers and preen them backwards. And the more fibers that you pull back and the smaller you can make that tie-in spot, the better. So as a general rule of thumb, these feathers kind of they have a curve to them. And I always try to tie with that curve facing the hook, because as we palmer the feather around the hook, they're going to naturally want to curve towards the back here. So let's go ahead and just get ourselves tied in. Perfect. I'm going to take all this excess and trim that off. Just like so. A few more wraps just to make sure it's locked in. I'll try not to get any of the fibers in there. And then the next part, what you can do is, in this monthly kit, we gave you some hackle pliers. I feel like I get better control if I just use my fingers. However, let me just go ahead and show you what you'd want to do. So go ahead and get your hackle pliers out, and you're just gonna grab the hook right there, and that should give you more control. Like I said, with a hook of this size, I prefer to use my fingers. I feel like I have more control. And all we're gonna do is just go ahead and start palmering that forward. Now with soft hackles, less is more. So usually only like a turn, two, but really no more than say like 3 turns is enough to get just what you need out of this pattern. So just make sure you're being mindful and not capturing any of those fibers in there. We're gonna go ahead and trim off our excess here. All right. Now with some of these crazier fibers that are sticking straight out, what I like to do is just pull them back with my fingers and lay down a nice little head right in front. Boom, there we go. Now at this point, whether you whip finish or half hitch, go ahead and finish up your fly. Okay, go ahead and trim that off. Perfect. And then I always take on all of my flies and finish it up with a little bit of head cement. Oh, that's a bit too much. And there you have it. That's the Soft Hackle, the January box from True Fly Supply. If you haven't checked us out, go head on over to our website at trueflysupply.com to find more helpful videos and tips and tricks like this. Thank you.